Ready?
Okay.
Go.
Here we are, Celebrity Josh with
Tax mechanic.
Excellent. And, wow, we got lots to talk about today, so, because you've already briefed me. I'm like, what? So let's just get rolling.
Okay, first thing is I finished a new book called Tax is Good.
Controversial title.
I'm sure it is. I've tried it out on several people, and it's the theme I'm trying to get across is, why we're taxed, why you should file your taxes, and what is done with the taxes. Most people complain about the amount of tax and the government waste. That's a separate issue. We need taxes to fund our hospitals, our infrastructure, education. It's really a vital part of a successful economy and country. Because Canada has a value-added tax, the GST, and has a good revenue base, we're able to provide for our citizens and have good hospitals, free health care. Really works well. In countries that don't have a good revenue base, you look at Cuba, for example, they make about $30 a month on average, the people there, and they really have a lot of problems. So I'll get into more detail with that in the book, and next week I'm going to announce a book signing release party and give you all the details about that, and there'll be all kinds of goodies. I'll sign the book personally and be giving away all kinds of things at the party.
So yeah, giving away like taxes, or I don't even. Yeah, I was trying to think of some joke. I can't. I'm just so distracted. I'm like, you sounding like Bernie Sanders. Like it's good to have taxes and Is this book all about how taxes are good. That's what it's called, obviously. But it's just don't feel bad about having the government take all your money, or is it just still you don't pay more than you should, but it's just don't feel bad about paying any tax.
What I want to do is change the attitude towards paying tax. By the time that I'm finished with you, you're going to want to pay more tax. You're going to feel good about it, and you're going to change your focus from the tax to increasing your income. Because it's really your net income that's important, not the amount of tax you pay. And in fact, if you think about it, the more tax you pay, the better off you are.
And that's what I keep remembering. It's like if I'm paying taxes, I made money and I'm paying taxes on that, so that's a good thing. I remember I was afraid to sell stocks before, and I was like, I don't want to pay the tax on it. But I realized, I'm going to pay the tax eventually anyways, and it means I made gains and all this stuff. So, okay, but still you'll make sure I'll pay the least taxes possible if I come to you, right? Or is
Absolutely,
this because I could just donate the money to charity if I wanted to, or to the government if I felt like it, right?
Sure, well, that's one way of reducing the tax that you pay, but it still means that you should file your taxes and then pay your taxes. And I'll tell you the rates that you have. So like for a corporation, for example, it's 13.5%. There's nothing, you shouldn't be thinking about reducing that. That's what you're going to pay. So think about increasing your net income.
Right. That makes sense. And a lot of stuff I've learned lately is just what are you focusing your time on, right? I'm dealing with a lot of stress in my life and idiots I'm dealing with. And I realized, I could work on trying to deal with that, or in terms of selling my condo, I could work on squeezing every little bit of commission that I could save with a different agent, or maybe I can paint the condo myself. But I'd be better off using my time interviewing businesses or selling T-shirts with my cartoons or doing whatever, copyright, like doing the things I do to make money rather than trying to save money. You see?
Yeah, it's that's how you contribute to society, is do what you do best, and think of the time that you waste focusing on silly things like tax. It makes me laugh. Especially with I see the lengths that people go to minimize tax, to avoid it, to evade it, which are criminal activities, by the way.
By the way.
Yeah. So, we should change the focus. And I hear a lot of feedback from Facebook and that, people complaining about the tax that they paid, the government, the waste, the foreign. That has nothing to do with tax. That's to do with your government. Right. So focus on them. Don't focus on the tax. Focus on what the government's actually doing with it.
It makes sense. Like even my other accountant that I used before I met you.
Another accountant?
It's Elliot. He's a sweet guy.
All right.
But every time I meet with him, he's like, you know what? If something's under $1,000, don't even worry about it. Because I stress a lot about, oh my God, should I try to, somebody broke something of mine, or I didn't get paid for this. He's like, if it's not $1,000. So even just that little mental trick, I go, you know what? I got to think big. I got to think bigger about stuff. Not be like, oh, am I paying a little bit of taxes? And yeah, he says, just focus on building your wealth, bringing in more money, kind of thing.
Yeah. So third thing I want to talk about is initiative that I'm going to be starting. Homelessness is something that I've been trying to eradicate. And
I've been trying to avoid.
And, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to file pro bono anybody's return.
Which means for free, by the way,
for free.
in Latin.
So if you know of a homeless person, you can be their custodian and basically adopt the person. And what you'll do is get consent for them, bring it to me, I'll file their tax return, use my office as an address, or use whatever address that the custodian wants me to use, and we'll get some refunds and give it back to them either in cash or in food, and try and help these people. Part of the problem they have is that they're non-entities in the government's eyes, and almost every homeless person hasn't filed a return, and that's where these things start. So I'll do it for free. I'll walk the custodian through it. I'll cash it for them. I'll get them to cash it for it. But let's, bring these people to me, and I'll get them filed up.
Get them back on the grid, because I guess if you don't have an identity with the government, you can't really get a job, you can't get an apartment, you can't get a bank account, you can't do anything, right?
You can't. That's part of the problem. They can't get, if you go for an apartment, they ask for a notice of assessment. They haven't filed a return. Simple things like that. Same with the bank. The bank, you can't credit report. You haven't filed a return. So
I was even talking about a girl who wanted to be my roommate recently, and she's like, I can't get my own apartment because I haven't filed my taxes for a few years. Or no, maybe it wasn't that. It was that she hasn't worked like a steady job, so she can't show her income. But that's tax related too, right? If she could, do her taxes properly, show what income she has, she could get an apartment and everything, right? So, yeah, so it's all part of.
It is, and the taxes is related to all that. You should, you need to report tax, so you need to have income, and you need to for credit. So all of it's connected, and that's what makes the homeless people. They get off track. Believe me, a lot of people. Some of them are, they were well-paid individuals who lost their job. Next thing, could happen to anybody, and they're on the streets. And now you don't have. A job, you don't have a tax return filed, you lose your ID, you become a non-entity, and then they can't get rent and apartment. They want to become anonymous after that, and you can see why. So let's bring them back into the fold.
Should we make like little business cards? So if you see a homeless person, we can give them a card saying call this number, and the tax accountant will help you out or whatever. See, you got to turn. He's got his phone set so that every few seconds it shuts off, and he's got to press his code. And I'm like, you got to turn that all off. My neighbor does that too, and I'm like, always pressing the code every 5 seconds. I'm like, just leave it. Nobody cares about what's on your phone.
Get Josh focused now.
Sorry, because there's time on the phone. We want to keep this under 10. That's why he's looking at it. Okay, so can we make little cards that we give to homeless people and say like?
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Note to self: do cards.
Because you can give them food money for food or whatever, but this could change their lives getting their taxes done.
Give them instead of buying them a coffee, give them my card.
Yeah.
And I'll get them taxes, and I'll probably get GST refunds for years. I could get them hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
You know what we could also do, and I'm just thinking now, it's like if we made up cards that are almost like coffee cards for $5 or $3 at Second Cup or Starbucks or Tim Hortons even, and then but on them is printed or with a sticker with your information saying I'll do your taxes, and that way they can get a coffee and read this and contact you. I don't know. Could be a good news story if the media's interested. I'm thinking out.
Great idea.
Yeah.
You come up with these as we speak.
Just like that. You see your thing. He's on again. We're almost at 10 minutes, and he's got an unbelievable story. Should we just make this a second video, or all right?
Yeah, let's make it a second video. Let's.
But it's going to be about guns. He told me this amazing thing about guns. So, but I want to keep this under 10 minutes so it can all fit onto LinkedIn. But watch the next video as well, because this guy, I don't know. He sounds like he's going to be a supervillain or something. Okay, is that all right? So bye for now.
Bye for now.